It's the next morning. It's been about 23 hours. I'm not sure. We need to nitpick on the exact times, but this stuff's all set up. It really stiffens up the board even just by itself. So if you have doubts about any of that crap, yeah, so it's Thinset set, right? So this guy, yeah, just pulls right out like I thought. And then, no, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to get this underneath there. It's like it's not, I can't just like peel it up with my fingers, so clearly something attached itself to the tile. Let me get something to hold the camera. Yeah. That's a really good sign. Hell yeah. So you can see it pulled a bunch of the felt up. But I'm not a tile expert, but I think that's really good. So it's only been a day and it's sticking just fine. So we're not going to have to, I don't know that we necessarily need to peel one of these up per day if they're just going to be fine. We will anyway, just in case this was an anomaly. Like maybe this one did great for no reason at all, and these are going to suck. Yeah, but what we'll do as well is I'll cut another piece of scrap, and when I'm done doing the Ardex today, we'll take some of the leftovers and we'll cover a piece of scrap, and we'll then when we start putting tile on the wall, we'll thin-set some tile to the Ardex like we are in real life. Now, we won't be testing it beforehand because I think it'll be fine, but it'll just be kind of confirmation, and we can peel it apart and show it to people, because I don't want to peel one off of my own wall. But this is exciting. This tells me that this shower is going to be a great success. Today is the day, so we'll put this Ardex up. It says tile in 90 minutes. We're gonna ignore that. We're gonna let it sit overnight, and then tomorrow we'll do a flood test on the pan. All I gotta do, I went and got some mixing buckets because they're cheap, and I don't have to clean them, right? So what I don't want to do is put that stuff in my nice 5-gallon bucket that I got for the Thinset, and then have it all jacked up. And a couple of these, like this one, right, broke off another screw head. I switched to my actual drill since it has a clutch, so we're going to kind of limit torque and not use the impact driver, so there's not that shock on them. But I still snapped one. This is one that was already in the Thinset beforehand, so this one was, and this one, I haven't tightened this one down yet. Either way, yeah, so snapped it off, and on this one, when I snapped it, it got all ugly, right? No, it's not sticking out from the wall, so when we put our banding up, it won't matter. You can see like I missed with the drill and put a hole in it, you know, all kinds of stuff. But this one, you know, I did the smarter thing and moved the panel down, so when I tighten this screw down, the screw head doesn't try to keep the washer up or mess anything up. So little things like that you learn along the way, but you know, even that ugly corner is going to be just fine. So I have everything prepped. This is in case I get like a huge glob on the tile, because this is acrylic. I don't remember how they mess with mineral spirits, but either way, yeah, some acrylic stuff. And they list different types of mixes in here, and they're like caulking consistency and paintable consistency. We're going to start with caulking and then move on to paintable if we have enough left. I hope we do. The intention was to paint the whole thing after doing the Thinset, but now that we're using that instead of Thinset, you know, I'd like to at least get the pan and like partway up the walls painted after this is up. If it doesn't happen, then I may look into ordering another set and doing that anyway, because I think it'll be worth it. So yeah, we got everything around. The only thing I need to do is decide on this guy, right? So when we do get to it, do I want it like this, or do I want it? I've seen it done both ways, right? I watched a bunch of people do shit, and you know, some of them do it this way, some of them do the other way. It seems like, I feel like this way is correct, because then when you put your thing over, is it really squishy enough? Maybe I'll look for some clarity on that before I actually get started. So figure out which way this is actually supposed to go. Well, you know what? Look at that. it's got a lip. Well, the lip works both ways, but it's got felt. Like, that's not flat. This doesn't seem right to me because you'll have a lip with felt. So if this goes flat, you'll have a step up. Whereas on this side, I don't know if it really matters. What matters is it doesn't make the thing stick out, right? So if the tile's not thick enough and that piece isn't, we need to go get it and see how much gap we'd end up having, because I like this way better. I'll be right back. Okay, so this pressed all the way down onto that rubber seal. We can't even fit a tile behind it, so that's the way I'm gonna do it. I want it to stick out further like that. Don't scratch it. Yeah, so this is how it was on. I like that better. I think that's how it's supposed to go, but I've been wrong in the past. So, but that's how we're gonna do it. So I like the idea that, you know, that if anything does get behind here, it's got more surface area to flow around instead of inside. But either way, I think the intention is that that plate should come in and butt up against this and create a seal, which it's not gonna do because it's not thick enough with the tile. So maybe, yeah, well, it doesn't matter, because when we put that plate on, you know, it has its O-ring here, it doesn't have anything here, and doesn't have anything up top, so we're gonna be putting our own sealant on anyway, and this is just a backup, so I think it'll be okay. And so for mixing, right, 2 mixes. There's paintable, caulkable. The paintable mix is a 1-to-1. It's just by volume, right? Whole bag of this, whole bag of that. That's what they say on their tech sheet. And then for caulkable, they say whole bag of this and like 2/3 of this. They don't use measurements. They're really bad at that. And then the guy I watched do this, they ended up kind of experimenting with the mix, because you can, you know, add or take away to thin it out while it's still workable, or add powder to thicken it up as you see fit. And I think it's hard to tell in the video what his actual mix was, but the guy that was mixing for him, it seemed like they said a little less than 2 parts powder to a little more than 1 part Ardex. So we're gonna mix up small batches anyway. So what I'll probably do, so we have a little trowel. So we'll do act like small, like really small. It's a quart. So I think if we do, there's the actual measurements, right? A little less than 2 parts powder to a little more than 1 part of that. Okay, so this is what I'm going to try for the first mix. Is I'm going to do 6, 6, 8, right? So our 2 parts will actually be 12. If it was 2-to-1, it'd be 12 ounces, 6 ounces. So we'll just go 12 ounces, 8 ounces. So it's a little more liquid. It's not 1-to-1. It's not 2-to-1. And we'll just see how it turns out. It's a small amount, and then we're going to start at the top anyway. I want to get the ladder out of the way, because I can do everything but the top row fairly easily. And then the strips will have to use the ladder as well. So we'll go ahead and hit these single parts, because they're small, they're easy to deal with. So maybe the first mix I don't do on the ladder. Maybe I just do this guy right here in the middle, just to get a feel for the stuff and if I like that mixture. It has a pot life of about, I think, 45 minutes is max. Like, once you get to that 45-minute mark, you're done. That's why I'm not mixing all at once, because I'm not confident that an amateur like me can do this whole thing in 45 minutes. It's just not in the cards. So I'd rather mix small batches up, use them up before the pot life is done, and then just mix more. Speaking of which, I should go get the drill mixer. They do suggest that. And if you mix it by hand, they say 3 minutes vigorously, and I'm not interested in that. Okay, so we have the liquid in our container first, 8 ounces. We're going to try, that's close enough, right? 12 ounces of that stuff. We'll just see how we like it. I want both hands. So here's what it's like after mixing it. Kind of runny, but it doesn't like slide off. So we'll see how we like it. If it seems like it's too runny, then we'll add some powder. But I think once it's on the wall and it's thin, like it's nice and thin, and we start pushing things together, that's just going to stick really well and do its job. So yeah, so that might be the ratio. See how we like it. It's starting to get hot. I want to get the fan going. So we'll film this first one, see what we think, and then get a fan moving. Yeah, so get everywhere. So I really should have it back. Okay, and then should be able to squeeze it out and then pick up any of our extra. Right. There really isn't a lot of extra, so okay, we're gonna need a little bit more to get them to the sides because we don't want these flappies sticking out. We want to make sure that it's covered all the way. Stuff membrane's thicker than it looks, when you watch other people do it. But what should be happening is we're trying to push it together and get that fleece to hook to each other. It's nutty because it looks like paper thin. If you watch someone else do it you can kind of see some of the fleece is tearing off when I scrape on it too, so I'm not sure how I feel about that. You got to trust in other people. This is how they do it. So I'm gonna get the fan going and knock out more. I got a timer to see how long it takes me to do however many patches for this amount of mix. And moving right along, that was 21 minutes or 22 minutes to do 16 squares, and this is all we got. We used up the whole bucket, and it was starting at the end here, really getting sticky, wanting to grip to stuff. I'm going through now and just kind of checking, make sure if there's any weird high spots, trying to make sure they're not too pointy, right? And we can come through and knock these down a little bit if we need to. I don't want to touch it too much, but it's working the way I'd expect, so we're gonna keep moving on. But I think that it's worth, I don't have a bunch of trowels and a bunch of blades, so I'm going to take these downstairs, clean them off, and have a fresh start for the next batch. I got a bunch of containers so that we can do these one at a time. And then looking at the amount of material left, at first I was like, oh, there's not going to be enough, and it's like, no, there's going to be plenty. So the parts that'll eat up more, right, are when we start putting these full strips in and doing the stuff down here. So at a minimum, I know that we'll have enough to put the banding up. It's just, how much will we have left to roll? How far up the walls do we make it? If I get to like this point, like waist height up the walls with the roller, I'll be happy with that. I got the tools washed off. It wasn't set up yet completely, so it's pretty easy to just go wash them off with water, wash it off my paddle, then dry them out, right? You don't want to mix a bunch of water in with this stuff. No, it's acrylic is a water-based thing, right? I think it is. So it wouldn't really hurt it. I mean, if we wouldn't want to pour a bunch in, but if there's like a drop left in some pocket in the mixer, it's not going to affect us much at all. So we'll just rinse and repeat. I got plenty of containers. We're going to do, it's going to be, well, next one we'll do another 12 or another 15, 16, which will get us to 32. We got 48 total plus the strips. So I think 3 total mixes, 2 more mixes, and we should have the walls at least most of the way done, and then we'll be working on the floor. I got the bigger pads of the ladder on that side so that my fat ass hopefully doesn't dent the floor when I climb up to do this top row. We'll do the top row next, including that flange. we're moving right along, and then I had a change of mind at the last minute. I was about to put this in, and I was like, you know, why am I not doing it exactly how the Kerdi dudes say, like right on their videos that the manufacturer makes? When they put this in, they don't mention anything about the plate height, what type of valve, nothing. They just put it in this way and go. And I started thinking a little more about it, and it's like, well, this isn't for waterproofing your plate to the wall. It's to keep water from getting on that foam, right? So this has got a pretty heavy angle to it. So if stuff does come in, it's going to want to go this way instead of that way. At least I think that's right. And the bottom line is, well, that needs to stick down more. I like this better because that's how they did it. So if I ever had well, I'm not going to have any kind of warranty on this because I'm not using Thinset. So either way, that's the way they did it. So that's the way I did it. End of story. Yep, got the corner. That corner piece was a little tricky. You know, likes to bend around funny, but we got it in. It's looking good. And then we're not super concerned about this inside corner being perfect because with the glass tile, we need an 1/8 of an inch gap for movement anyway. So we're going to end up with an 1/8 of an inch gap and then a gap from the tile. And yeah, so it doesn't need to be super sharp. Not that it would. It's pretty sharp anyway. But yeah, there's a piece on the ground. So I got the tools cleaned off again. As is tradition, and yeah, we're gonna do the pan. And I think maybe, you know, the strips do eat up a lot of material, but we'll see how much if we need more in one batch. This last one, because the strips went so quickly, I mixed the second batch in the same container and I was able to finish up, but by the end it was getting quite tacky. Yeah, so things are cleaned off. We'll just treat this one kind of like a roof, right, bottom up. The only part that's really actually tricky is like this corner and some stuff on the edges. So we may have to trim the pre-made pieces because the rule is 2 inches overlap. Well, now that we only have a 2-inch curb, we need to go up 2, down 2. There's going to be quite a bit of buildup in that corner with them overlapping like that. So yeah, it won't be too bad. I think it's just what it's going to be like. So here, this should be waterproof now, right? So we did things to per the instructions, except for, you know, we didn't use Thinset, we used the acrylic, that Ardex. So we used Ardex 8+9 instead of Thinset on the Kerdi board. So according to Kerdi, this is waterproof. This is good to go. We want to, because this is rollable, it's paint, you can make the paintable mix. So we're going to mix up paintable. Now we've used a lot more powder than we have liquid. We got spare liquid. So what I want to do, because when you paint it on, Ardex says to do 2 coats perpendicular to each other. So we're waterproofing over some waterproofing, so I'm not sure how important the 2 coats is, let alone the 90-degree stuff, but we'll try. So what I'm gonna do is separate the powder into 2 of the bigger bins and make sure there's the same amount in each, and then we'll 1-to-1 with the liquid to make the paintable consistency. I'll grab some of those chip brushes I'm using for the car, and we'll just treat it like we're painting a wall. So we'll do the pan and the curbs first, and then we'll just see how far up the wall we get. Ooh, that's smart. One of these days, those guys are going to go buy little fire trucks pulling out. It's going to be hilarious. So, anyway, yeah. So I had a thought. I think the directions said that the whole kit will cover 100 square feet, right? Let's see, crack isolation, something, blah, blah, blah. Something about 90 minutes. Drywall 100 square feet, concrete 70 square feet with 2 coats. This, I mean, concrete because it sucks up the moisture, right? So 100 square feet. The shower is much more than 100 square feet. I think total surface area of all 3 walls is like 140 or 160. So our single kit wouldn't have covered the whole shower anyway. We'll see how far up we get. It may be that, you know, I do 2 coats part way up. I can start doing floor tile and things like that, and maybe do just order a second kit, and then we just mix up the whole bucket and paint them, well, half of it, right? Because we want to do 2 coats 45 minutes apart. So this stuff, early, the first stuff that came along, it's dried right up. It feels like Thinset. Yeah, it's good stuff. So I got this separated out. I had a little more, about 13 and a half ounces of powder left each. So I got about that much liquid in there. I'm going to mix up one batch. We'll show you the consistency, what it looks like, and we'll paint it on, doing, like I said, the pan first, and then however far up the wall we get. So here's their 1-to-1, and it's still pretty thick, right? It's like a really, really thick paint. It's got Portland cement in it as well, so it's never going to be like water, right? So this will be good. We'll get it on there and spread it around, and hopefully it has enough to at least do the pan and maybe a couple. It'd be nice to get a couple feet of wall, but it is what it is. I had to go ahead and mix up the second batch just to get this far. So yeah, figured that stuff ruins a roller every time you use it. So what I'm thinking is I'll order more Ardex, right? Just because overkill. Because is there anything I need to take care of right now? I think it's just cleaning off the paddle for the drill, and then cleaning off myself. So yeah, we'll call it. And what time is it? 3:48. Yeah, that's where you get in 6 hours when you're by yourself and you don't know what you're doing. So that's a no for Amazon Prime. They don't even have it Prime, and then the people that are selling it, it's crazy markup. They want anywhere from 120 to 140 for that kit, the same kit that I bought at Contractors Direct for $85. So I just ordered another gallon. I went back first and measured, double check my measurements. So we're 35 by 65 by 96-ish tall, rough, which comes out to all three combined 85 square feet. And that's supposed to cover 2 coats on 100 square feet when you roll it. And I can see that because you thin it out. So 2 kits would be overkill. I think we'd be sitting on an $85 kit that we don't need to and don't really have a use for because there's nowhere else in the house that needs waterproofing yet. So yeah, we'll just wait for that to show up. And hopefully, I don't remember it taking that long last time. I think it was a pretty quick turnaround, a couple days, maybe 3 or 4 days. So we could still be tiling next weekend. And I think part of that will be this stuff isn't so thick that we can't start pre-cutting the tiles for the floor, right? So once this is dried up, we start bringing some floor tiles in, decide how we want the grate to end up, and just start getting them ready. We can dry fit them. We can dry fit our whole curb. We can get our holes drilled for the glass. I'm not sure if I want to go as far as to start pre-cutting glass tile. I guess we could do the first. Oh yeah, we could start doing that too.